Now on Toledo News this morning, election recap. The big races came with big wins and losses. An expert breaks them down. Plus, Blade Holiday Parade. The annual tradition returns today, introducing you to the Grand Marshals and their familiar faces. And Healthcare Shakeup, how one local hospital system is hoping to resolve financial hardship brought on by the pandemic. It's Saturday, November 12th, 2022. Good Saturday morning, I'm Jaden Jefferson, and thanks for starting your weekend with Toledo News this morning. We start with the check of your first forecast. It will be a partly sunny Saturday with a high in the mid-40s and a low in the upper 20s, so it's going to be feeling a little bit like winter tonight. Lasky Road at Talmadge Road is undergoing lane restrictions for intersection work. Due to final paving, the project is expected to be completed in the spring of 2023. Happening today, the 35th annual Blade Holiday Parade steps off in downtown Toledo. Plenty of local businesses and organizations are expected to participate. And new this year, there's a major change. Instead of the usual single Grand Marshal, there are two, and their names are Bruce Baumhauer and Jerry Huber. Baumhauer is the current president of UAW Local 12, and Huber, along with Baumhauer, is a founder of Toledo Jeep Fest. The parade steps off at 10 a.m. Also happening today, it is the 10th anniversary Makers Mart at Handmade Toledo. The event brings together artisans from around the area, allowing them to showcase their work to potential customers. Admission is $5, and those 10 and under are free. The event runs from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Handmade Toledo on Adams Street. The City of Toledo Division of Youth Services will be hosting Youth Be Heard, a collaborative kickoff event of listening sessions for Toledo's youth. From 12:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. today, parents and guardians are invited to bring their kids and teens to listening sessions to brainstorm ideas that'll benefit youth in our community. Attendees can offer their insight into needed resources, programs, and outreach for future generations. The event will be held at the Collingwood Presbyterian Church on Collingwood Boulevard in Toledo. Now to an update on those levies. There are three big ones here in Lucas County. Issue 11 for the Toledo-Lucas County Public Library, Issue 10 for the Imagination Station, and Issue 7 for the Metro Parks Toledo. All of them passed by favorable margins. Also Tuesday, Congresswoman Marcy Kaptur won re-election over her opponent, Republican and former nuclear energy exec J.R. Majewski. This was a stiffer challenge for the 40-year Congresswoman due to redistricting, which occurs every 10 years. ProMedica announced this week that it has entered into definitive agreements with Welltower, which go into effect on December 19th. That would transfer the real estate and management of all of its skilled nursing facilities. Under the terms of the new agreement, a new Welltower venture will own the real estate interest for the skilled nursing facilities. Operations for the facilities will also transition to new operators. According to a ProMedica spokesperson, the transaction resolves ProMedica's continuing operating losses within its senior care division. They add that this is a crucial aspect of the hospital system's financial recovery plan. Well, we are coming off of an election night that was quite surprising for many. So joining me right now is Dr. Melissa Miller, professor of political science at BGSU, and you've kind of become a pro at this, and we're glad to have you back on today.
It's good to be back, Jaden.
So let's first start with that biggest surprise, which was the Senate race. What are your thoughts on that turnout?
All right. So the Senate race was the one everyone was watching and everyone was anxious about because it had been so close for so many weeks. And in fact, Tim Ryan had a lead. It wasn't ever huge, but he had a lead for a number of weeks. What happened was that J.D. Vance, the Republican, closed the gap in the last 3 to 4 weeks, ended up winning by 7 points. How did that happen? One of the big factors for the Vance campaign was they got a huge influx of money from the national Republicans, poured a lot of money in the millions into the Vance campaign, and that allowed him to really saturate the airwaves and sort of drown out the Tim Ryan message, or at least respond to the Tim Ryan messages. So I think that had a good deal to do with it. The other thing interesting and surprising about the Senate race was that it's clear many people split their tickets. So what Vance won by, he was the Republican, won by 7 points, but Governor DeWine, also a Republican, won by 25 points. So there are a whole lot of Ohio voters who voted for Mike DeWine, the Republican governor, but then cast a ballot for Tim Ryan, the Democrat. It wasn't enough for him to win, but there was a lot of split ticket voting this time.
Definitely. And talking about the gubernatorial race, the outcome wasn't really a surprise. So why is that? I mean, DeWine even won Lucas County.
That's right. So DeWine won big, as I said, 25 points over the Democratic challenger, Nan Whaley. And I think there are a number of reasons for that. One is Nan Whaley just doesn't have the name recognition that Mike DeWine has. He has the name recognition from, really decades of service in elected office. He's held multiple statewide offices, governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general. That's a lot of statewide races. Your name is really going to be known. Nan Whaley is the former mayor of one of Ohio's big cities, Dayton. But again, it's much harder for a mayor, even of a large city like Dayton, to get their name recognition up fast enough during a campaign. So if she were to run again, then the name recognition would be higher. But as well, I think Mike DeWine had a big fundraising advantage, and he really had sort of the campaign coffers and the resources to really dominate the airwaves in that campaign. And so that certainly helped him. And also, I've talked to independents and Republicans and Democrats, and honestly, in thinking back, a lot of Democrats in the height of the pandemic were really complimentary of Mike DeWine's leadership of the state through the pandemic. And I think that, certainly helps that he is a popular governor and was able to attract certainly independents and independents who lean toward the left, but they stuck with the governor, and many felt he had done a good job shepherding the state through the pandemic.
It was an interesting night. It was definitely a late night for many. So hopefully people can rest up this weekend, because boy, oh boy.
I know.
Professor of Political Science at BGSU, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Jaden.
And that's Saturday's news for this election week. Have a great, restful weekend.